Hey everyone, MTash here, and I've got a guide that is going to lead to, honestly, hundreds of golden artifacts on your account that otherwise wouldn't be there. Now, this is something that you need to commit to, and it is a very end game, min-maxed thing, okay? I'm gonna warn you, some people who are watching this video will never get to this point in Genshin Impact. But if you love this game, if you have all these 5-star characters that you want to level up, if you are playing this and really truly want to have one of the best accounts out there, this is something you can start working on now. Because even if you're only AR 40 or 45, AR 50 even, you still can't fully take advantage of this yet. It takes all the way to AR 55 to fully take the cream from the crop. But all of your actions before then are important, because if you're like me, I screwed myself. Now, what am I talking about? Man, that is a big intro. What are you talking about, MTash? I am talking about boss farming in this game and the absolute tragedy that the drops are. And I want to explain a way to really min-max your account and get all these different artifacts. Now, if you look at my artifacts, I got some golds. I got lots of golds. I've been farming a whole bunch. If you look at my weapons, I've got some level 90 weapons. If you look at my characters, I have got a lot of characters at 90 already, starting to get their talents up. But I wish I could have watched this video a while back, because I would have done things a little bit differently, and I want to explain. If you look at all of the different domains in game, right? We've got artifact domains, we've got weapon domains, we've got the talent book domains near the bottom. I feel that they all scale up pretty darn good. Artifacts, you can start getting some golds at AR 40, but at AR 45 is when you really would want to hammer the artifacts, because at AR 45, you're guaranteed to get the gold. And that's great. At AR 45, if you look at resin spent, right, if there's a spectrum, you're always getting pretty much the max. Obviously, you're not going to get a god roll every time. You might not even get the set that you want, but every time you spend a resin, you're getting that maximum amount, and you're going to be really happy, hopefully, with the reward that you get at the end of it. Even if you don't use that item, you can still use it for experience, and you're going to need a lot of them. With weapon materials, no, you're not going to get a gold item every time, but once you're getting into AR 40 and all that, when you start grinding this, if you're committing to ascending a weapon, right, the range is right here, you're always near the top. You're always doing pretty darn good, and you're going to be making progress towards ascending that weapon. The same thing goes with talent books. At AR 36, the value is pretty darn good. You're getting a bunch of blues, you're getting some greens, but when you're committing to these things, you're always really progressing towards getting that ascension. But with bosses, I would not agree with that sentiment. I would not agree with that. And if you look at the rewards here, this is absolute bait. This is absolute bait. It says, you know, the base levels are going to drop there. At level 40, you're going to start getting this stuff. Level 60 here. At level 75, you're getting this. No. No, these things are damn unicorns, and the chances of actually getting them is nothing. And here lies the problem. They've also got these artifacts here. It's like, oh, wow. At AR 40, I could start getting some golds from the other domains, so I'm guessing I can get them here. At AR 45, you know, I guaranteed get a gold, so I'm sure I'll get some here. But you don't. Even at AR 45, you're not guaranteed a gold. Even at AR 50, you're not guaranteed a gold. And even at AR 50, you're not guaranteed even a chunk. You're not guaranteed this bad boy. The drop rates from these bosses have such a big range that with that 40 resin spent, you could be right at the bottom getting some purple gear and some blue and green Ascension materials, or you could be at the top getting a gold artifact and a golden gemstone or a gemstone. And that's the issue, is this doesn't max out in value and kind of put you near the top until AR 55. At AR 55, you're guaranteed to get a gold artifact. Now, why does this matter? Let me explain. I've got Venti at 90. I've got Ganyu at 90. I've got Mona at 90. I've got Diluc at 90. I have put a ton of resources in getting these characters up to level 90. Or sorry, the Ascension to 90. Really quick side note, don't actually take them to level 90 because the amount of books you get, it gives you like 20-something strength and defense. It is absolutely terrible investment. Use the books that you would have used going from 80 to 90 on other characters until you are like late endgame. Just trust me on that one. But the Ascension here is really valuable because you typically get some extra talents. You know, in the case of Diluc, he gets some crit chance. Ganyu gets some crit damage. This Ascension is good. But we're looking at 10 runs minimum of this boss. We're looking at another 6 runs minimum. We're looking at another 4 runs minimum. And then another, like, 2 runs and then another run. Right? And so if you add all that up between all these characters, we're looking at like 80-something runs, 100 damn runs. But that's not the case, because the gemstones that are required are so rare that you're typically going to have to over-farm this. In order to get all of the materials that I needed for Venti, I have an extra like 8 of these. So like an extra 4 fights. And I ended up blowing a couple of these on, I think, Sucrose, but I think I was like over by handful. My fire ones, I have had to fight the boss so many extra times, it's not even funny. And so it's typically like 30 or 40 fights that you're taking to ascend someone to 90. But if you look at my artifacts here, and you look at how many gladiator items I have, it's honestly kind of pathetic compared to how many times I've fought the boss. We're looking at a drop rate of like maybe like 10%, maybe 20% on some of these artifacts. And that's the frustrating thing. Yes, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got a handful, but I fought the boss 150 times. I could have hundreds of these. Not only is that experience, but it's the potential of getting god rolls. And so here's what I want you to do. So if I could do this all again and really min-max things, here's what I would do. I would choose 2 characters as your main DPS. I've got Ganyu and Diluc, but if you've got a Kaching or another character that is your main DPS, I want you to focus on them and you can bite the bullet. You can farm that boss, and no, you're not always going to get golden artifacts, but you're going to get them to 90, or the Ascension to 90, right? And you're going to eat that cost. Because when you get them to this Ascension, they're going to get their final boost of stats. He gets crit damage, she gets crit chance, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to go for the guaranteed upgrades, right? Their weapon. Upgrade that as far as you can. Max it out, in my opinion, because you're not going to be replacing this anytime soon, right? The other thing is their talents. You're going to want to be maxing these out, but also farming these materials so when you do get the boss drops, you can level it up. And you're going to commit to those characters and absolutely make them your main DPS, your main character. They're on the field before everyone else and for the majority of the time. Your level 50 Diona, like my Diona is level 50. She's on the field, boom, pops a shield and gets off. She never even takes damage because all she's doing is popping those abilities. My Xinyan, 50. My Sucrose, 40. I understand that they could do more damage and they will do more damage. But my thought is, if I'm going to ascend them further, I might as well get a bunch of gold artifacts while I do it. And by getting all these characters to like 70 and 80, that is multiple runs that I'm not going to get those golden artifacts. And in this game, if you have hyper carries like main DPS characters that you focus on, they're so tanky and they're so strong that it is going to save you minutes in domains. It's going to save you minutes against bosses and in the Spiral Abyss. And they're out there so much that you should commit to everything. The weapon, the talents, but artifacts as well. I understand that there's RNG involved in farming artifacts. You're going to get some god rolls, you're going to get some terrible ones. But one thing is constant, getting the Crimson Witch set on Diluc is a big ass boost to damage. So yes, you're going to have trouble maybe getting that Pyro Cup, right? And maybe your Feather rolls defense freaking 5 times and you get 24% defense. It's going to happen. But even if you get a couple of good artifacts, right, with some crit chance and crit damage, if you just get a few of them that have some big boy rolls, they are going to carry your team. And then you can move on to the supports, and you can maybe get some Mona and some Zhongli artifacts and all that stuff. But max a couple of characters out and give them good artifacts and make them your absolute best. And then you can trickle things down and do the same with others, right? You can go and get the talents for some of these characters and upgrade these talents, and you can get their weapons up, and you can do those guaranteed rewards as well. But I would not, under any circumstance, until your AR-55, I would not take any of your support characters past like 70 or even 80. I would say, honestly, at 70, you don't really need to do it. Because here's what I would recommend instead. Instead of getting the damage that you're going to get from ascending them here, and like definitely you do get some other stuff from ascending, what I would do is commit to getting them godly artifacts. If you're going to be spending resin, you might as well spend it in a place where you know you're getting a good reward. And that would be godly artifacts here. And it is going to take time, once again, to get them a really good set. But that can never really be taken away from them. You need a bunch of artifacts to use as food to level artifacts. But also, once you get artifacts with some cracked stats on it, right? There's got some crit rate and attack, energy recharge. This is a great piece. He is going to hit harder, and he's probably going to hit harder than ascending him would. Now, that being said, if you look at like his talents, I can't take this any further right now. So, you know, getting that ascension would give him talents and it would give him more damage, but the amount of resources you need to get him to 90 is pretty big. The amount of bosses you have to fight and the resin you have to spend is really, really high. So I can go for the artifact set, I can get some good damage there, and I can wait on this. I can wait on this until I can get some better drops from those bosses. And that isn't until AR-55. It is a long-ass time. But if I then take Zhongli to level 90, we take my Beidou to level 90, we get Bennett to level 90, I am going to have hundreds of gladiator sets and Wanderer's Troop that I otherwise wouldn't have had. And I think that that is a pretty big deal long term. You can still get a weapon up to 90 on these characters. If you're at AR-50, you can commit to these guaranteed things on those support characters as well. There's no reason why you can't have a level 90 weapon on a level 50, you know, a level 50 Diona. You do your thing. Even on some of the artifacts, you can give her 4,000 extra HP with a good flower. There's nothing saying you can't do that. But I think that ascending these sub-characters when the drops from these bosses are so terrible is a bit of a waste of resin compared to the guaranteed results you can get from weapons, talents, and getting some good artifacts. So that's what I kind of wanted to say. I know it's a bit long-winded, but I wanted to paint that picture for you because maybe you desperately need gladiator sets for someone like, someone like Razor or something like that. And obviously AR-55 is a long ways away, but I'm not going to go fight the animal boss like anymore for Venti. I feel like it's almost a waste because half the resources that you get are the boss Ascension materials. And so farming those artifacts when you're not actually ascending characters and progressing, it feels awful. It feels terrible. So I just want people to be careful with that. If you can leave some of these characters lower level and then really, get that bang for the buck down the road, it is a win-win-win. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.